This is Angelina Geraldi. In December 2024, she had a fall at the Montreal long-term care facility she lived at. She died less than a day later. She was 97. The Quebec coroner opened an investigation and referred the case to the Montreal police, but 7 months later, her family is still in the dark about what happened that night.
They're not allowed to tell you who was working, they're not allowed to tell you what's going on.
Geraldi's death is raising questions about the quality of care for seniors that are living in Quebec's long-term care facilities. Because of a fall a few years ago, Geraldi was fully dependent on the CHSLD LaSalle staff to get her in and out of bed, as well as into her wheelchair. She was usually an early riser, but when Costello came to visit her the day before she died, she was surrounded by employees and still in bed.
The pain was excruciating in her leg, and they were trying to find out what happened.
Costello recently became an orderly herself. If a resident has fallen, she says it's supposed to be reported to the nurse before any attempt is made to lift them to avoid further injury. But contrary to protocol, Costello said the day staff were not aware that her grandmother had fallen until another resident told them about her fall. There was also no handover note about the incident. An X-ray was ordered at LaSalle Hospital the following morning, and to keep her comfortable, they decided that rather than having her sit in a hallway hospital, they would keep her comfortable in bed right at the CHSLD. But she deteriorated rapidly, and by 6 p.m. that night, she passed away.
It was so shocking. Like, shocking is an understatement, because she didn't go a day without having a visit from somebody. And we had seen her the day prior, on the 17th. She was fine.
Costello said the CHSLD staff would only tell the family that the orderly that was on staff that night had been suspended. They were also told that the nurse was working on 2 floors and had been on a break when the incident occurred. Although the province publicly committed to improving the quality of care in CHSLDs after the COVID-19 pandemic, some say accidents are commonplace and protocols are not always respected.
I have a lot of respect for people who work in the healthcare system. It's very difficult conditions. It's a very stressful environment. But within the Quebec healthcare system, there are also often situations where people who are entrusted with vulnerable people do not take care of these vulnerable people as they should.
He said it will be important to find out if the employee that was on shift that night was an employee of the CHSLD or an orderly or a PAB as known in Quebec from a private agency. He said that private agency employees are often not familiar or haven't received training about protocols. While Geraldi was generally happy with the care at CHSLD LaSalle during the day and evening, Costello said the facility was often short-staffed overnight. Costello said her grandmother complained about long waits to use the washroom and delays when calling for help to return to bed. The family said they raised these issues with the care home's administration at least 5 times, the last time a couple of months prior to her death.
You wish there was a camera in the room.
Montreal police confirmed that there was no criminal element involved in Geraldi's death. The coroner's office would only confirm that the investigation is continuing, but would not comment further. The health agency responsible for the CHSLD LaSalle offered its condolences to Geraldi's family, but due to the ongoing investigations, it declined to comment. Costello says through her own training as a PAB, she says that not everyone is suited to this work. She also knows that when someone has fallen on their watch, that it can be very difficult to just assess the situation and not step in immediately.
But there's a protocol. Because someone has fallen does not mean you are at fault for it, but you are at fault if you make it worse.